Tell me, are you a dreamer? Do you wish to wield the powers of the gods against your enemies? Do you hate natural sunlight? Do you crave the raw flesh of random forest animals? Do you wish you could bite a chunk off the nearest person to cure your internal bleeding? Do you wish to travel the world, obtain ancient forbidden knowledge, and channel it by babbling nonsense at shouting volume in public spaces? Do you wish you could say 2 syllables in sequence and spontaneously combust anyone who wrongs you? Do you wish to make your ancestors proud by taking glasses filled with random shit and throwing them at strangers? If your answer to one or more of these questions is yes, allow me to introduce you to the game with the best cost to reward ratio that you will ever play. Moonring is a cute little roguelike RPG made by the co-creator of Fable, the one that isn't a meme. It takes place in a quasi-post-apocalyptic world. This will make no sense unless I explain it, so let's get it out of the way. Centuries ago, this was a normal world with a sun and a moon. It was ruled by a unified culture, the Siberun, whose mastery of the natural sciences was without equal. However, their world was struck by a sudden calamity, as a massive volcanic eruption almost completely destroyed their civilization. Not only were the survivors left scrambling, but they were also suddenly besieged by madness, as the eruption injected the atmosphere with an otherworldly substance that induces psychosis and unleashes eldritch monstrosities into our reality. As the volcanic ash blocked out the sun, rather understandably, most people thought it was so over. However, after the catastrophe, the sky was filled with light again, this time provided by an ever-circling ring of alien moons. That is the in-game explanation for the game's unique neon color aesthetic. Each of the 5 moons bestows the world with different coloration, and along with it, different properties. This is a strange world, where the only natural light comes from these moons. The world is enveloped in perpetual twilight darkness, people aren't born but instead randomly stumble out of the fog, and the primary source of nutrients are mushrooms. After the moons appeared, the denizens of this world, called Caldera, began to dream of their gods. The people thus separated themselves and formed new cultures around the particular god of which they dream. And that leads us to the present setting. You play as a dreamless, the divinely ordained enlightened centrist of Caldera. You do not dream of any of the gods and are thus free to choose your own path. Only one of the dreamless can rise to become Archon, mediator between all the followers of the gods and ultimate keeper of balance. And as luck would have it, the position is soon to be open, as the current Archon, Elwed, is far too fucking old. So might as well take the opportunity and see what comes of it. Now, as mentioned, the guy who made this game worked on Fable, and as inspired by the quintessential Westoid RPG, Moonring 2 sets up your player character as a typical farm boy, living an idyllic, carefree life on a farm. Your father figure, Kareem, has recently died, leaving you with a mysterious note telling you to find the secret key he hid in the house, venture past the family graveyard, and delve into a conveniently placed cave where he hid a mysterious stone engraved with the serpent's eye. With this stone in hand, you travel the world not just in search of riches, but in search of answers. With that introduction out of the way, let's get to the real stuff. Like any true gamer, we play on permadeath right from the get-go. All jokes aside, don't be afraid to delve into permadeath right away. The thought of losing everything from a slight mistake makes the game much more engaging in my opinion. Now, Moonring isn't your typical RPG with ever-ballooning scales of damage and defense. It's not the kind of game where you start out as a defenseless gremlin and end the game as an ultra-powered demigod capable of leveling mountains with a swing of your limp cock. Upward progression is very mild. However, do not let that fool you. Moonring's systems go pretty deep for what they are. The limited options for upgrades means that you'll be examining every weapon down to the most minute detail for any scrap of an advantage you can squeeze out. And given your limited, straightforward options, you're gonna have to compromise. In addition, fuck damage inflation anyhow. This game is all about the buffs, the status effects, the resistances, and the special abilities. Case in point, I lost my first character in the tutorial dungeon because I got set on fire and burned to death. Caldera is a dangerous place and it's got no shortage of bullshit to throw your way, so you'll have to learn the tricks of the trade to stay alive. First things first, leveling up. Your starting gear is whack and so are you. Grinding for cash to buy new shit is about as standard for an RPG as you can get. The world is filled with dungeons. You go in, the doors lock behind you, and you need to find the master key to get back out. For your troubles, you get some randomized loot, a special artifact, and for more unique dungeons, a guaranteed artifact. Keep what you like, sell the scraps to random merchants for cash. You've played Skyrim, you don't need me to explain this to you. Here's what you do need to know though. Fighting enemies for experience is just not a thing. In this world there are no experience-based level ups. Instead, we use devotion. Each of the 5 gods has dominion over a particular domain and one of the attributes. There's 2 ways to get devotion. If you suck off a priest, delve around in certain dungeons, or fight unique overworld bosses, you can find devotional tiers, which grant you a single point of devotion to a god of your choice. Very good for topping off your supply. However, for the bulk of your early game devotion, you're gonna need to do the god's quests. Each god offers 5 one-time objectives for you to complete, each granting 2 points of devotion. To level up, you invest devotion to purchase a divine gift of your choice. In addition to the special ability you buy, you get +5 in the god's attribute. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong! The game's combat is all about careful positioning and clever use of your abilities and special items. Most enemies are retarded. They'll see you, run at you, and hit you until you die. You, however, are presumably a thinking, rational human being. There's a variety of important tactics you'll have to learn and master since you'll be constantly fighting outnumbered. First of all, never get surrounded. You have health and you have poise. Health reaches 0, you die. It does not regenerate naturally, but to hit it, your enemies will first have to chew past your poise, which does regenerate, so long as you're not standing next to a hostile. A single point of poise will block any amount of damage from an attack, but you'll be left completely vulnerable. This system creates an emergent property of combat which we in the business call the kiting dance. You lure dangerous enemies one by one, damage them as much as you can, and when your poise breaks, you take the opportunity to run away and make space between you, and pace around frantically to regenerate your poise before attacking again. Kiting, making use of chokeholds, throwing your enemies down pits on the floor, and even some minor use of stealth are all tactics that will minimize risk of death and assure fat stacks for your wallet. Next, you'll need to learn how to deal with Amber. It's scary at first, but it's actually very simple. You see this? This is the Amber Fog. Do not travel the Amber Fog without your safety light on. There, that easy. You see this? This is your Amber Ward lamp. You get Amber Ward oil, you dump a bottle of it in the lamp, and boom, you're good, homie. Always keep some spare oil in your backpack. I have lost not 1, not 2, but 3 characters to the Amber. It is no joke. Let me break it down for you. When you're in the Amber without warding protection, you build up Amber-Madness. If you have photosensitivity, there's an option in the menu for that, but it's not gonna help you at all if you're Amber-Maddened. Aside from the rainbow puke, being maddened isn't that bad by itself. All attacks against you cause stun, which is very bad. But don't attack people, run away, get rid of madness, boom, job done. However, being Amber-Maddened inside the fog is a whole different story. Listen man, I am a firm believer in the human spirit. Slap enough stun resist on, keep your health potions at the ready, and I'm sure defeating eldritch monstrosities from another dimension is as easy as 1, 2, 3. In fact, just about every Amber Beast enemy is guaranteed to drop some cool loot as well. But if you want to risk it all to prove yourself, be my guest. I've given you my warning. We're true gamers here, but we're also responsible gamers. If you want to play it fast and lose, don't come crying to me when you get burned. As you might have gathered, the gods are important. You can devote yourself to all the gods and gain their gifts, as well as the raw stats, but despite your status as dreamless, this game does not have mercy for filthy fence-sitters. In addition to your devotion, you can dedicate yourself to one of the gods over the others. Doing this will grant you a special, unique passive ability, half the cost for that god's gifts, and will also require you to follow that god's creed by putting specific restrictions in your gameplay. Not choosing a god to dedicate yourself to is the objectively incorrect choice, so take the L. I assure you most of the gameplay restrictions are extremely trivial, and specializing your build is the way to go. So let's go through the gods so you can pick the one you like the most. The Great Forest Wolf. This is the god for survivalists, nature lovers, and, other animal enthusiasts. The wolf is all about strength and survival of the fittest. When you devote yourself to the wolf, you're saying that you're top shit and the world is your harem for the taking. Wolf followers take the LARP so seriously, their city doesn't have houses, just segments of the woods where they sleep, eat, and shit in the great outdoors. Wolf followers gain D&D style barbarian rage. When you stand still with missing health, you get free recharge of your energy. The wolf's abilities are all about getting the job done. Throw your weapon at enemies at a distance, create powerful shockwaves, jump right into the fray, gain short-term invincibility, and howl at the moon to summon wolves. Being a wolf follower means you listen to me talk about how this game isn't really about just mindless mashing and decided that was gay and cringe. You devote yourself to the wolf by repeatedly mashing your face against a brick wall until it breaks, and by never backing down from a fight. If you're a big fan of wolves, want to express your rage and discontent at modern industrial society, or wish to partake in your Germanic heritage, the Great Forest Wolf is the patron for you. Our Lady of the Sanguine Moon. To put it very bluntly, it's a faction of Tumblr witches, except not completely insufferable. The lady is all about alchemy. In Moonring, alchemy works by taking a base of blood and then mixing it with random herbs to produce special effects. Now, I could be apologetic and tell you that the lady's passive makes alchemy give you a little more bang for your buck. But here in the Stratophobia YouTube channel, we're nothing if not brutally honest. The lady does not give you more bang for your buck, it gives you all the bang for your buck. If you're not a lady follower, there is literally no reason to engage with the alchemy system. Every other player just buys their potions with gold or loots them from dungeons, and only lady mains have any incentive to make their own. When you devote yourself to the lady, you're LARPing as a quirky, blood-based magician. You can't eat food, but that's alright because you can subsist on the blood of your enemies instead. This is the part where I would make a clever, original joke, but I will instead simply remind you that Twilight exists, and leave it at that. Because that joke has definitely not been beaten to death for 2 decades now. You gain favor with the lady by doing herbal fetch quests, experimenting with potions, and shooting your enemies from far away. Lady mains get perception, cool special buffs for their ranged attacks, and access to the best bows in the game. If you enjoy the goth girl aesthetic, either from a first or third perspective, like wearing eyeliner despite being of the male sex, or think that being pessimistic makes you inherently profound, you will find yourself right at home with the Sanguine Moon. The Lords of Dust. Your classic knowledge-loving geeks, but with a we need to return style twist. The Lords of Dust are the divine incarnation of the dead Siberune culture. Dust followers are obsessed with the past and with the dead. They're all about ancient knowledge, and they heckin' love science. Do not mention magic around them, as that will make them quite upset. Most of the game's items have limited uses. After you use Siberune artifacts to their limit, they'll break. While every other player will have to scavenge dungeons for more items, like the plebeians that they are, Dust mains get the unique ability to repair their items for further use. So while low IQ wolf and lady mains are risking their lives for the chance to get another wand, you simply need to bust into the nearest Amazon warehouse ruins, beat some Boston Dynamics robots to steal their lunch money, and then use their parts to slap your wands and orbs back together. Dust abilities allow you to teleport to safety in case of an emergency, set traps, and even weaponize the Amber Ward lamp into a laser beam in a pinch. You dedicate yourself to the Lords of Dust by exploring the world for the sake of science, and messing around with technology you don't understand. Dust mains cannot use alchemy, so no health potions for you. This isn't an issue as you'll just use Lifestone for healing anyhow, but it does mean getting rid of bad status effects can be problematic. From personal experience, intelligence-based weapons can also be a bit harder to find, so that's something to consider. If you enjoy history, spend all your time online making little Dark Age edits, and are the kind of person who will, unprompted, rant about the intricacies of Roman military formations for a straight hour, the Lords of Dust are a great choice for you. The Way of the Blind Angels. Also known as the Way of Chads. I don't hide my bias. This is my faction of choice and the objectively superior one. The Blind Angels are all about single-minded zealotry in your moral code. Love order, love justice, hate undead, simple as. The Blind Angels control the endurance attribute, which when leveled increases your equipment load. This means only dedicated angel mains can wield the heaviest weapons and armor in the game. Angel followers prefer weapons that are as blunt as their approach to ethical dilemmas, so mallets, mauls, maces, and great hammers. Yeah bitch, you in Hearthaven territory now, we bludgeon bitches in this motherfucker. Better take your sensitive ass back to Wintershell. A lot of Angel special abilities are more defensive in nature. You can create hallowed ground in which creatures cannot be harmed, reflect damage dealt to you back at your foes, and most hilariously of all, you can summon a powerful guardian angel that disappears if you attack anything. That's right, you're incentivized to turn yourself into a support role in a single-player game. That's certainly unique, if nothing else. As some slight criticism, the Guardian Angel is very powerful in a rather confusing way. I'm not sure if it's pure RNG or it's just designed to be this way, but the Angel's durability is very unpredictable. I've seen this thing slaughter entire batches of bandits, hold its ground for several turns against repeated critical hits, and wipe entire fucking dungeons with barely a scratch, and then get one-shot by a single white scarab. If nothing else, it's definitely the most entertaining summon of the game, in no small part because you'll be sitting in the back yelling World Star while it solos a mob of enemies for you. Wanna know what the special passive is? One of the status effects in this game is blindness. This effect usually sucks. You can't see shit unless it's right next to you, which makes you easy to surround and kill. If an enemy blinds you, there's a good chance you're dead. That is, if you follow one of the cringe gods. Angel mains get stronger when they're blind. When you're blind as an angel's follower, all your hits deal double damage, and you get permanent life sight, which lets you see most enemies even without direct line of sight. It is not uncommon to see angel mains rush into a crowd of enemies, pull out an orb of veils, and then intentionally blind themselves before wrecking shop. You devote yourself to the blind angels by being as blunt and unsubtle in your approach to life as possible. Being prejudiced against the mortally challenged is heavily encouraged as well. Angel mains are forbidden from engaging in dishonorable combat, so no attacking unaware enemies or allies. However, this is a lie. The game still lets you sneak attack and kill creatures that are sleeping. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but hey, only more reasons why blind angels rock. Death's Harlequin. The obligatory meme faction. The Harlequins are violent, unhinged, hedonistic nihilists who worship a clown god. Their home city, Herodos, is built like a Chuck E. Cheese labyrinth and has a crime rate that would make you wish you were taking a casual stroll down the streets of Philadelphia. You dedicate yourself to the Harlequin by committing random acts of criminal negligence and intentionally pissing off every other god. Harlequin mains can only use finesse weapons, but that's a non-factor given that's what you'd want to use anyway. You follow the Harlequin because you don't care. You read Nietzsche and decided that gazing into the abyss is far too moderate and you should do a triple backwards flip while diving into the darkness. Death's Harlequin special abilities are more designed to troll and annoy everyone around you than to actually fight, and most of them are just as dangerous to you as they are to your enemies. On top of all this, their unique passive is that they move faster when under the effect of Amber-Madness, which is convenient as their abilities let you inflict madness on yourself intentionally. To say you're at the mercy of RNG is the understatement of the century, but if you're a true follower of the Harlequin, this is the intended experience. Leave the metagaming and the min-max builds for tryhards like me. Harlequin mains only desire to burn their retinas with Amber-Madness and kill their enemies with whoopee cushions and joy buzzer handshakes. If you're mentally deranged, enjoy random acts of indiscriminate violence, or have ever, unironically, reposted a Joker meme, go with Death's Harlequin. So now you know each of the gods and have your pick. What next? Well, not much to tell really. I could sit here and tell you what my game was like, but in truth this game is at its best when you go in blind. Moonring is all about the exploration. You get out there, you beat wildlife to death to bulk, and loot your way to magical prowess. That's really all there is to it. As to the main story, I'll leave that plotline dangling for your own sake. Seriously, go get this game right now. It is literally free, there is no reason not to get it. Oh what, your time? You have to spend your time to play it? Because you value your time oh so much, don't you? That's why you're watching this video in bed at 2 in the morning instead of going to sleep. How long have you been doom scrolling? 2? 3 hours? What productive time did you clock in today? Are you happy with the way you're investing your life? If you come through your memories, examine all the years you've already let slip by, what percentage of your time do you think was well spent? Don't give me shit about how you're busy. You make yourself busy with trivialities. It is about damn time that you understood the nature of this world of which you are a part, that there is a finite limit to your days, and if you keep letting them slip by without using them for your betterment, they will simply disappear, just like you, to never return again. Sorry, lost my cool there for a sec. Tell you what, as a treat and just to be a good sport, let me spoil the game for you if that's really what you want. The Serpent's Eye? It's an undercover society. It was a group of dedicated scholars and adventurers that your father was a part of. You learn this, naturally, by arguing with the homeless in a major city, which is, as we all know, the best way to obtain knowledge on any given topic. Once you get a boat to travel around more freely, you may also come across another member of the secret group. The man, the myth, the legend, Thartheos Roch. The man who invented the Amber Ward lamp and has survived for centuries using alchemical life extension to complete his mission. And his mission is to free all pure, red-blooded Calderan patriots from the illegal alien moons currently occupying our world's orbit. That's right, you were lied to this whole time. The gods of Caldera are actually extra-dimensional demonic entities that are extracting your soul energy like parasites. They're the ones who destroyed the Siberun Empire and released the Amber Fog into the world. Now, you might be saying, but dude, I've been worshipping the gods my whole life, and they always answered my prayers with cool god powers. How could they be evil? And, oh my god, this is what I fucking hate about dreamers, right? They don't understand that their systemic dreaming complex only serves to further marginalize the dreamless and reinforce dreamist lunar normative moonarchy. So yeah, across the political spectrum, we are in agreement. The moon gods gotta go. We need to return to having a sun. So how do we go about this? Well, if you're woke, like I am, you will put aside the bourgeois speciesist modes of thought and talk to a goose who's gonna spill the beans on everything. What you gotta do is go to Barrowland, desecrate the ossuary, and come back out with a special hidden treasure. It's gonna let you unlock a unique fast travel point towards the Lament, the final dungeon and ultimate test of your skill. To access it, you need to collect all 5 relics of the gods and put them together to unlock the door. Do not go speak to the Archon. He's a plant, he's a puppet, he is a shill being paid off by the Lunar Industrial Complex. He is not to be trusted. Instead, use Roch's belt to travel across the entire world and learn the true names of the gods. Once you have them all, get all the fire resistance you can, because we're gonna have to travel down 7 consecutive layers of lava-flooded dungeon to reach the Tether, the extra-dimensional parasite that psionically connects the world to the moon gods. It's a tough fight, made slightly easier by dissolving the walls with the power of magic. Once we deactivate its defenses, we go in for the kill. This thing is gonna throw every status effect debuff at us all at once, but with the god's own power turned against them, we simply flood the arena with our bad bitches, and we girl boss it to death. After a successful revolution, we emerge once more to the surface, and this time a bright sun shines over the mountains and plains of Caldera. The Archon, his source of foreign investment money severed, decides to step aside, and we are crowned the new Archon of a free Caldera. That's right, people, the Patriots are in control. And with that, the game ends. Overall, Moonring is definitely worth your time and money, and given you don't have to give it your money, I'd say it's a damn good deal. For a project done for fun over the pandemic by one dude, this is an absolute gem that's gonna give you, quite literally, a mathematically undefined return on your investment. It is that good. Thank you so much for watching, more content to come in the future, and have a wonderful day.